All right, here we are back again in some Pokemon. It's been a while. It has been a while since we've been out in Pokemon World. Okay, well, again, not counting Spreadsheet Green, which we played yesterday. This is Pokemon Sword. It's funny because we're exiting out, but we're going to go right back in. You may recognize our little guy here. This is the Joker. So, long story short, when we played through Pokemon Sword and Shield, like 1-2 years ago, after a string of failed Nuzlockes, we just said fuck it and became a supervillain. So we became the Joker here in our purple suit and not green hair because the green hair didn't look that good. But we became the Joker. And we had a team made out of Pokemon named after characters from My Immortal. So, right, you have Diabolo, Ravenway, Hargrid, and the other three got transferred up to Scarlet and Violet. But you had these three little guys. So, yeah, that was our playthrough at the time. Why I have a Metagross at the head of my party and just that, I have no idea. But it's what I have. So, right, last time we'd done legendary stuff, whatnot. But if you saw my stream the other day, we're working on getting a complete living dex. One of every Pokemon. And one of the big things I'm missing is a lot of the legendaries. At least some of them. There are some that we have a bunch of. I think we had, 4 Zapdoses? Or, it was something wild like that. But there's a lot of legendaries that we don't have. Entei being one of them. Right? I don't have an Entei. I didn't have a Stakataka. So, one of the easiest way to get legendaries is in this game you can do the Dynamax adventure. Which is in here. And the Dynamax adventure allows you to get or allows you to get legendary Pokemon if you can successfully complete 4 raids. So a lot of those Pokemon I just showed are ones that come from the Dynamax adventures. Not all of them. I think the Reggies and the birds weren't. But, Dynamax adventures work really well. So today we're just going to be doing some Dynamax adventures, just going into random ones. The main thing we're looking for is Ho-Oh. I'm pretty sure I have every legendary but Ho-Oh. So we really need a Ho-Oh. So that specifically is what I'm aiming for. I also do want a Groudon, if we could find that as well. Because in theory, I would love to shiny hunt a Groudon. I think that could be fun. But that's only because Groudon is my favorite legendary. Other than that, I don't really care. But I would love to shiny hunt a Groudon, so we're going to maybe try to do that. I don't know. I've been doing these for the past day or so. I have a chart of what I have and what I don't have. I did not have, Stakataka was a big get. Because that was one we actually needed to get. Entei, another big get. If we find Raikou, however you pronounce it, that's also another one we don't have. But what I'm really looking for is Ho-Oh. I have Lugia, at least I think I have Lugia. So we really just need Ho-Oh. I think that's the one legendary item. How am I missing 4 Gen 4 legendary or Gen 2 legendaries? I have no idea. Because that's mostly what, the only one I actually had was Suicune. I was missing all the other Gen 4 legendaries. Which, I mean, I guess that's just because I haven't played Gen 2, or I keep saying Gen 4, I mean Gen 2. I haven't played Gen 2 in a long time. They never released a Let's Go Johto game, which many of us had predicted. And, of course, the most recent game gave us the variations of the Gen 2 legendaries. but I cannot remember if they gave us the actual Gen 2 legendaries themselves. So, what you gonna do? But for the next hour or so, we're just gonna go through. We're gonna do, hopefully, a few of these max raids. I hope we can get, I don't know, 3 or 4 done. I don't think they take 20 minutes. Honestly, I'd kind of be surprised if they take longer than 15. But, you know, we're just going to do as many as we can. And hopefully it all turns out fine. Sure, let's go after that Obama Snow. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hopeful, though. I also would love to find a shiny Pokemon, but my shiny luck is fucking awful. And I've been doing these, right, you saw, I had a few things in my boxes. I've been doing these for a while now. That's probably actually not good. I've been doing this for a while now. I have not come across a single shiny Pokemon. So I'm not getting my hopes up to find a shiny. Especially because in this game, I do not have the shiny charm. Part of us getting the living dex was to to make getting the shiny charm easier. But just because we've done it doesn't mean I'm actually going to go get that shiny charm. And there's not yet anyways. Maybe once this is all said and done. Even if it just makes, again, finding a shiny Groudon easier. Because I want to say it's like 1 in every 40, it's like a 1 in 46 chance to find a shiny here in the Dynamax Venture. And I've definitely come across more than 46 Pokemon. I want to say I started off with like 60 or 70 Pokeballs, and we're down to like 20 something, which we do have to go stock up on. Yeah. Yeah, we're going through these fast. So let's get into the news, shall we? So the first big story, I saw this originally from Wario64 on Twitter. But he got it from Xputer? Xputer.com, is that right? Yeah, I've never heard of this place before in my life, Xputer. But it's a leak. So the tweet reads, leaked images of an all-digital white Xbox Series X expected to be priced under $499 with improved heatsink, but no major enhancements, releases this summer. So that sounds interesting, right? A new and improved Xbox. Or, you know, it's not improved, but, you know, better heatsink. This is something that we've been talking about, has been coming for a while now. A new, right, because last week we talked about the new PlayStation Pro. And, right, PlayStation has gone big all in on their discless versions. And we talked about, right, how the new PlayStation's going all in on, right, discless versions. How, oh, well, if you want a disc drive, you got to pay the extra $50. And I know you have the the discless version of the PS5, and I know there's also, right, the Xbox Series S that is discless. But it seems like the future of, right, console manufacturers really want discless gaming. And part of it is a control thing that, right, these companies don't believe in, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't believe in preserving gaming. And, like, this is the problem we see all the time. Like, there was a news story just today, about how, I want to say Paramount had sold off 2 of its shows and will be releasing them and will be deleting them off their streaming services and whatnot. And that's really fucked up. I am big in favor of, right, restoration, preservation of media. We need to preserve media as much as we can, because there's already been a lot that's lost, right? It's one of those crazy things where it's like the entirety of the human written word, like 98% of it has been destroyed. It's something crazy like that. And right, there's a lot of, like, there are some even films that won like the Best Picture Oscar that we don't have anymore, or at least we don't have complete versions of, because they've just been destroyed in time. And I personally believe that if these companies are going to write off these shows as part of their taxes, they need to be required to put them in the public domain. Instead of just getting to delete them forever, no, if you're going to write something off on your taxes, it needs to become part of the public domain. And yeah, a lot of these games, it really sucks that they're being removed off of, you know, especially for digital-only games. They're being removed off Steam. They're being removed off the eShop. You have the Nintendo 3DS shop that, or, you know, I mean, it's already shut down, but the Nintendo 3DS online servers shut down in like a week, if less than that. So, yeah, I don't really love what's happening. Oh, hey, look, it's Groudon. It's our baby boy. Again, I kind of want to get him shiny. I know shiny Groudon is green, but I still kind of want him to be shiny. He's still my favorite legendary. I fucking love Groudon so much. I don't know how much he needs to have his speed lowered, but we'll do it. But yeah, so this discless Xbox does nothing for me. Right? Oh, an improved heat sink, okay. Trying to get it under 400. Like, to be fair, okay, I say it does nothing for me, but that's because I already have an Xbox, but I don't have any physical Xbox games. All my Xbox games are digital, right? Or if they're not, it's through, well, Game Pass, which is also only a temporary thing. I don't have any physical Xbox games. So in theory, this appeals to me. But like, I already have one, so there's no point in that. But I find it real. Right, this is the future, and I don't like this. I know there's been rumors that the next Nintendo console is probably also going to be digital only. Or at least it's going to have two versions, one that's digital only and one that's physical and digital. I'm definitely picking up the physical and digital, or the both one, because I do not care about the digital only one. Because yeah, I do like having physical games. Not for everything, I should say. There are some games that I do, games like Animal Crossing and Splatoon, Mario Kart, games that you could play every day. I would much rather have digital versions, because then I don't have to worry about switching out cartridges or anything. And that's it. Wow, that Groudon. I thought we were actually doing really good there, but that Groudon just kicked our ass right there. Holy shit. I'm gonna save it and we'll come back to it later. It's at least nice to know we came across it. Let's take the need. We don't need any of these, and none of them are shiny. Again, my shiny looks are awful. Yeah, no, this... I'm surprised at the summer release date. That's very quickly approaching. Because I want to say the PlayStation was rumored to be a little later, that we talked about last week. But it is definitely getting to be that new console season. Let's get rid of Tapu Koko. We don't need Tapu Koko. Again, we're mainly looking for Ho-Oh right now. Right, we have... Most weeks it's been Switch rumors. Hey, guess what? Every new week there's some sort of new Switch rumor. But then last week it was a PlayStation rumor. This week it was a Xbox rumor. And I'm betting Switch rumors only slowed down because the Switch got delayed. Right? It kind of got not indefinitely delayed, but you know, it's been delayed until... I don't like either of these options. Ew. It's been delayed for at least a while. So I bet that's why we stopped getting so many Switch rumors. And instead, this PlayStation and this Xbox seem to be a lot sooner. Yeah, this does nothing for me. Okay, boom, new PlayStation, new Xbox, sure, whatever. I barely use mine to begin with. I don't know. I still don't. I swear there was a new Starfield update coming out this month. I swear I remember hearing that. And we're, like, the month ends in, like, 3 days. Maybe even less than that. And I haven't heard anything about it. So, whatever. Because I do kind of want to jump back into Starfield. I did enjoy it. I know it's one of the weaker Bethesda games. But I did enjoy it. And I don't know. And maybe one day we'll pour one out to Mitten Squad and do a challenge run. We'll see what we can do. Maybe one of these days. I don't know. I probably got to learn the game more. Let's actually not even waste our PP on that. So next up, we got a game announcement this week. And it was, it got leaked the day before the announcement. And then the actual announcement happened the next morning. And I'll be honest, when the original thing got leaked and, like, people were talking about it, it was, hey, look, Marvel's making an Overwatch game. And I was like, really? A Marvel Overwatch? Like, I can see where they're coming from, right? I see where... Because it's done by NetEase, who have done... they've done... Oh, God, what... The Lane games? The League of Legends-like games. I am forgetting off the top of my head what the fuck those are called. But they've done games like that in the past. MOBAs? Are they called MOBAs? So everyone was like, oh, it's going to be a Marvel MOBA, right? Because that would make sense, because, like, Pokemon did a MOBA. Tons of other studios have done MOBAs. I would literally not be talking about this if this was a MOBA, because I would not give a shit. But it's an Overwatch type game. And that sounds way more interesting. An Overwatch style game. And right, Overwatch is very heavily based around guns. So of course this one's based more around physical combat. It's based off of destruction. Like you can... I'm just going to keep spamming this until we can Dynamax. It's based around, like, destruction, right? Characters are more physical based. Like, you see Spider-Man shooting webs. We don't see him swinging, right? You see Doctor Strange teleporting. You see, like, Black Panther summon Bast, and boom, it blows through, like, a bridge and destroys the bridge. Some real interesting stuff there. But okay, Overwatch 2 I can't say anything about because I haven't played it. And I think it's kind of dumb. But the original Overwatch, I did like. There is a part of me that will defend the original Overwatch. It wasn't anything amazing. And it was definitely not Game of the Year worthy. I know it was not the best year for games at the time. Definitely not Game of the Year worthy. And definitely... It can be blamed for a lot of modern gaming industry problems. Specifically around loot boxes. That's where loot boxes started. In the same way I can blame Fortnite for battle passes and everything that's happened with the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and the Joker this week, right? That can all be blamed on Fortnite. I can blame loot boxes on Overwatch. They weren't the first ones to do it, but they kind of made it okay for every other game in the industry to do it, even though it's not okay and it's never been okay, because it is literally child gambling. And this game is inevitably going to do something like that. It's going to have... some sort of... It's probably not loot boxes, because again, those have kind of fallen out of favor. But it's gonna have, most likely, if I had to guess, a battle pass. Right? They're gonna find some way to... It's NetEase, right? They're gonna find some ways to restrict it. So for the actual character roster, I actually kind of like the character roster. I know there are some glaring omissions, and we'll talk about it afterwards. But the actual character roster, I think, is actually... It's interesting. It's interesting, and I like that. So the roster is Iron Man. Wait, let me pick one real quick. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. Now let's give this one a shot. It's Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Hulk, Black Panther, Loki, Storm, Namor, Doctor Strange, Magic, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord, Mantis. And when they say Mantis, I'm assuming they're talking about comics Mantis. You know, the Celestial Messiah. Fucking... Ugh. I hate comics Mantis so much. That's a whole other thing for another day. Penny Parker, Luna Snow, Scarlet Witch, Magneto, and the Punisher. Genuinely, I do think that is a good roster. I think that's an interesting roster. There are some choice... Right, there are some good choice... I like that they didn't just go with the popular MCU characters. Did our attack just miss, or... I was not paying attention there. I like that they didn't just go for the obvious MCU choice. Kind of like that Marvel Avengers game from a few things ago. Oh, Maractus' Storm Dream is fucking us over. Okay. Right, they went with a few less... Right, like you have Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Hulk. Kind of, at the moment, Marvel's big three characters. So, you know, it makes sense that they're there. Black Panther's a good choice. Loki's a good choice. Storm's a little, you know... Like, it makes sense. She's a very popular character, so that's cool. Namor... Marvel's first hero, kind of, question mark. First mutant. He's second, actually, but you get the point. I think he's an interesting one. Doctor Strange makes sense. Magic sounds very... Magic is a very interesting character. She's Colossus's brother. Something demons. She's an X-Men or Excalibur, X-Force. I don't remember all the details. She's a very interesting character. I really like her inclusion here. Groot and Rocket makes sense. The fact that they're two separate characters, I think, is interesting, because I could have easily seen them being one character. But I think they're a good choice. Star-Lord, okay, you know, sure. Again, Mantis. I do not like comic book Mantis, but it makes sense to have the character here. Again, she's just fucking weird. Celestial Messiah stuff, you can Google it. I do not. I think it's a pet character is the proper term. She's like a self-insert. Not a self-insert. She's... You know what it is? Mantis is a Mary Sue. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. She's written by a man, but she's a Mary Sue. And I just do not like the character. I like what the MCU did with her so much more. Of course, the guy who created Mantis fucking hates the MCU version. And in my opinion, that's a good thing. Because, again, I hate the character for the comics. We don't know which version this is, but I'm gonna guess it's more comic. Penny Parker is not what I would expect here. Honestly, Spider-Man makes perfect sense. Penny Parker in the mech suit, I would not have seen coming. But I think it makes sense because, you know, it's like Diva from Overwatch. So I get how you get from column A to column B there. Luna Snow is a character I'd never heard of. I've seen some people got really mad at this character choice. Ooh, shit. That, right, they think Luna Snow here is like your DEI pick, your diversity, your equity and inclusion. But, you know, basically, you know, the people who want to say slurs, but they won't say slurs, so instead they say DEI. But, you know, they just really want to say the N-word, right? I've seen some people basically say that. I think this is a good pick. I'm glad they're adding a character I have never heard of before. I guess she's like a K-pop singer who got superpowers somehow, and she tries to balance her K-pop singing with being a superhero. Actually sounds kind of interesting. You know, I'd check it out. So no, I think it's generally a good pick. Like, because I know when sometimes games do this, they add in original characters, like Midnight Suns added in their own original character. I wouldn't have been surprised if this was something like that, but it's not, and I'm actually fine with that. Scarlet Witch, great. Right? I do love me some Scarlet Witch. If you've ever... I own 3 Funko Pops. One of them is Scarlet Witch. So I am a fan of the character. Good get. Magneto? Perfect sense. And then the Punisher? The Punisher is your Soldier 76. You know, he is your actual gunslinger guy. I get it. Of course, they have said they're going to add more characters later on. And of course, that makes sense as well. Of course, people are mad. There's like... The big one I've seen people mad about is Thor. Which, of course, the people who are talking about DEI are mad that the Norse character isn't there. Like, fucking come on. I mean, sure, I'd be fine with Thor making it in the game. But you're fucking hypocrites. We're about to lose to Kyrie. Oh, shit. Captain America's also not there. I'm fine with Captain America not being there. I don't... Like, sure, he played interesting, sure. But whatever. And the character I'd, of course, really want to be there, who isn't there, is Miss Marvel. Right? Miss Marvel is my... Is Miss Marvel my favorite Marvel character? Probably. I would say Miss Marvel is probably my favorite Marvel character. So I'm kind of surprised she's not there. But, you know, I'm not, like, broken. Like, I hope it comes later on down the line. I could also see Captain Marvel coming later on down the line. Which Captain Marvel? Any of them, honestly. God, this went awfully. I'd at least like to get one win tonight. The other thing that surprised me in this trailer was the trailer ends with Galacta. This was a fucking deep cut, and I actually got this. I understood this reference. I understood who... unlike Luna Snow, who I'd never heard of before, I had actually heard of this character. I knew about them before they were cool. So Galacta, daughter of Galactus, how that works doesn't matter. Who cares? She's a joke character. She comes from a one-off comic where, you know, she's got all the powers of Galactus, but, you know, she doesn't want to be evil. And so I want to say her one issue was about her eating, like, a scroll virus that could mutate. Because, you know, she's trying to do some good. She's a weird character, and she's clearly a joke, who, again, has only ever been in one issue, and is just mostly forgotten by Marvel. But I do like the character. I think the character is, like... It's like one of those weird things. She's got a secret identity. She had a Twitter account. It's a very weird thing, but I'm kind of glad they brought her back. Like, it's very clearly like a throwaway. Her original comic was just throwaway. Because it came out like 10 plus years ago and they've never mentioned her since. No, that's a lie. That actually does sound like a lie to me. But you get my point, right? It's a very random character to bring back here, but I'm actually kind of glad they are back here. Because that's so random and I kind of love that. I love shit like that. So yeah, no, I think that's a very weird thing. But overall, yeah, of course when this game actually comes up, I'm sure they're gonna fuck it up somehow. This is NetEase. I would not put it past them to fuck this up somehow. Who the heck is that? The heck is that big thing over there? I don't think we have any fire types, so I guess I've got Gorbis, or Gastrodon, I mean. So it's a very weird right? It's just this is a very weird game. I'm glad they did this instead of a MOBA, because I think MOBAs are very boring. I at least think this is a little bit more interesting. So yeah, you know what? Maybe it'll be great. I think they're doing like an open beta in May with a full-fledged release later in the year. maybe it'll be great. I'm sure they'll fuck it up somehow. You know, I do not... one of the other things I'm glad is it's not coming to mobile. Right? It's not coming to iOS or Android. A lot of these games usually fuck up when they do that. Right? They have to, you know, sacrifice the experience to make it more playable on mobile. Not that I hate mobile gaming. It's just... mobile gaming is like the lowest common denominator sort of thing. But as far as I know, this is coming to PC and console. It might not be coming to... let's see. It's coming to PC. As of now, Marvel's Rivals has only been available on PC via Steam and Epic Game Store. However, developers are actively exploring potential releases on platforms. This means the game will be accessible on Xbox and PlayStation consoles in the future. Does it cost money on... if it costs money on the Steam page store, that... because I don't actually know. No, it is free to play. I see it right there. Of course it's free to play. See, that's where they're going to fuck it up, is free to play. But other than that, I don't hate this idea at all. Like, I did not get into Marvel Snap. I know Marvel Snap has a lot of good deep cuts in it as well. But no. But yeah, no, give me Miss Marvel. That's the one, right? Over Thor, over Captain America, I want Miss Marvel. Right? That Avengers game did her dirty. What am I saying? Marvel Comics did her dirty. Like, fuck. Have you seen what they've been doing with her the past 12 months? Oh, God. I actually don't know how that Marvel game did her. But I wanna, right, I'd love to play as the character because she's my favorite. So I guess that takes us to WIBE. I didn't realize this was the Gigantamax one. I honestly forget a lot of these Gigantamax Pokemon exists. They're just so... they're like Mega Evolution, but worse. And I just forget they exist half the time. So what have I been playing? Actual video game wise, you know, like I said, I've been grinding Pokemon. We found a lot of stuff. Like, I haven't found everything, honestly. Like I said, we're looking for Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh's the big one we really need. But other than that, I've found a few things. And I hope it gets us one step closer. I know there is a way to get a Ho-Oh in either Sun or either Scarlet or Violet. I just don't know which game it is, because I only have the DLC in Scarlet. And if Ho-Oh's... I'm pretty sure Ho-Oh's in Scarlet, but if it's not... And I'll be honest, getting the Legendaries in Scarlet is a lot faster than what we're doing here. But I kind of want to do it here. It is exclusive to this version of the game. Alright, we can only find Ho-Oh here in, Pokémon Sword. It's in Shield, it's Lugia. Which, luckily, we don't have to worry about that one. I think. Oh my god, Stunfisk actually did something. I know Stunfisk is one of the most hated Pokemon out there. I can't bring myself to hate Stunfisk. There are Pokemon like, Bruxish. That's the fish Pokemon I hate. Stunfisk, I don't love it. I think it has a terrible moveset and I'll never use one. I don't hate Stunfisk. Galarian Stunfisk, I generally love. I think Bear Trap Stunfisk was an amazing idea. But it should have gotten an evolution. They should have given it a better moveset. Something. Because Galarian Stunfisk just is not that great. Oh, that's Wailmer. Oh, let's go fight a Wailmer, I guess. Yeah, I know. Galarian Stunfisk is... I love the design. Making it a bear trap, I think, is so clever. It just kind of sucks. It just sucks. It does not have a good moveset. Yeah. Have I been playing anything else? No, I have not checked. I know last week I mentioned Princess Peach Showtime and how we were going to check it out. Spoiler alert, I did not check it out. What is its move to? Butter. Yeah, sure, let's give it a shot. We can do it once and then switch over to grass type moves. I did not play Princess Peach Showtime, didn't even check it out. I haven't really played anything this week. You know, just busy at work. There was something I wanted to check out, but I don't think I did. Yeah, no, I think the only thing I played is Pokemon. That sounds right in my head. I booted up Pokemon Go because we needed a, So as part of our complete Pokemon list, I needed a Meltan. And the only way to get Meltan is by connecting Pokemon Go to Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And luckily, I had done that a while ago. And when you do that, they give you like a special like mystery box that when you open it, it spawns Meltan for an hour. So luckily, I had that mystery box. And then afterwards, I tried to connect Pokemon Let's Go to Pokemon Go to like trade over the Meltan, and I just couldn't. For some reason, I cannot connect Pokemon Let's Go in Pokemon Home. It just was not working for some reason. Not entirely sure why. Maybe there was something, because I've done it before. But yeah, I was able to do it. I was able to catch like 20 Meltan. I was instead able to send it over to Pokemon Home. And so now I've got that. Oh my god, please. Oh, it had Endure, okay. Stupid Whalmer. But yeah, I was instead... Did that go 3 turns? I swear we only went 2 turns there. Whatever. But I was able to, you know, get that. So we now have Meltan. We have Melmetal. That's good. I'm glad we have both of those. I would love to get another Melmetal, but I just don't think... I cannot be bothered to play Pokemon Go. Plus it takes like 400 like candies. And that's just such a pain in the ass. I caught a few of them, but I just transferred over the one. So yeah, I don't know. I also transferred over my one shiny from Pokemon, because I've only ever gotten one shiny. Because I've not really like looked for them or anything. Like I've never played on any of the community days. Because my town doesn't have that many Pokestops. Like when we used to have 2. I opened up the map today, and we now have 4. So like that doubled in size, but it's still not much. What does Rage Powder do? Oh no, I don't really need that. Alright, let's do this. I guess start off, then we'll do a Venoshock, and then we'll... I think this one we can actually beat. So the one thing I have been doing is I've been reading. So a while ago now, yeah, this was before Iron Flame came out. A lot of people were recommending, hey, you should check out this Fourth Wing. Oh my god, Fourth Wing is like the next big book. Oh my god, everyone should read this. Right? I saw people freaking out about this Fourth Wing book. And I was like, oh, you know what? Sure, I picked up the audiobook at the time because I had an Audible credit and there wasn't anything like on my wish list or anything. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll pick it up. And I've just been sitting on it since. But like a week or 2 ago, I don't remember. At some point, Crimson Rogue put out his video on Fourth Wing. And I was like, you know, I kind of want to watch that video, but I want to read the book first. So let me, you know, I'm going to start listening to the book, and then I'll actually watch that video. The narrator who does the audiobook I really like. I don't remember the narrator. I don't remember their name, but I've definitely heard something they've done before. And immediately I was like, wait a second, this voice sounds familiar. So that, I was excited about that. Let's see, their Iron Flame video came out 3 weeks ago, was their Fourth Wing video. And it's, did Fourth Wing earn its popularity? Romantic trash or revolutionary fantasy? Cause, and you know, it's funny, cause there was a thing I saw a few weeks ago. No, it was like a week or two ago that was talking about how every dystopian book is either it was every book that it was. How did the joke go? It was books recommended on Book Talk by women are just goon material, right? If you don't know, Goonie, right? Guys goon in their goon caves, right? You have gooners. The Apple Vision Pro are gooner goggles, right? That's a joke. But it's right, gooners are for guys. So the joke is like, oh, the books these women recommend are just as pervy as gooners, but they're books. And instead of goon caves, they have book nooks. But right, they're like super smutty and whatnot. And reading through this book, there was like a line early on where I was like, wait a second, did she just say orgasms? What? And I was like, okay, you know, maybe I just heard that wrong. And then a little later on in the book, they're talking about their sex lives. And I'm like, oh shit, is this one of those gooner books? Oh no. Oh no, that's not good. So I was like, oh shit, I might be in trouble here. I'm in danger. Nothing's happened. I've read 15 chapters. She just crossed the threshold. She now has her dragons. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm like, I definitely see it coming. It's just a matter of when. And when, I have no idea. I have no idea when is going to be. But I definitely know it's going to happen. Specific, because, okay, so there's another video called Every YA Dystopia. It's Every YA Dystopia in 60 Second, and she's like, the future, and it's a guy, and it's like, oh, the future conglomerate government now assigns us college majors. Female, come up and pick your college major. And you have been assigned serving cunt. And computer science. Oh my god, the rare double major. And sure fucking enough, that's exactly how this book plays out. Because I saw, okay, so, I don't, at some point in one of the early chapters, they mention this black dragon. And I was like, okay, she's gonna get the black dragon. Like, they're clearly building this up. And then like a few chapters later, they mention a golden dragon. This little small golden dragon that nobody wants. And I'm like, okay, she's gonna get the golden dragon instead. Right? It was between the two, and I was like, she's gonna get one of them, obviously. I feel like, because narratively, you either go with the plot of she gets a really strong dragon who can just destroy everybody, or she gets a really weak dragon that has like a secret talent that makes it super strong. There's an anime with a similar-ish setup. Like all the world, I'm not talking about world building. It has the shared element of humans and dragons. In the main character, instead of getting like a really strong, powerful dragon, he instead gets a little anime girl. And the little anime girl is, you know, she's weak compared to all the other dragons. She can't fight, but she has the special ability to access the armor forge. And, like, that's what makes her special. And, you know, he's able to, like, take advantage of that to solve problems. And so I was like, oh, that's what this book's gonna do. She's gonna get the gold dragon, and it's gonna have, like, some sort of special ability. And then she gets the fucking double major. And, like, I realized it was, like, once it started, I was like, oh, she's getting the double major. And then she gets the double major. But, yeah. So this is turning into every YA dystopia ever. which, because I do not trust the government, like, at all. Like, very early on, they established that, hey, there was this rebellion long ago, not too long ago, but after the rebellion, all of the adults who took place in the rebellion, they were killed, and all of their children were, like, marked, like they were branded, and they were forced to conscript in the military. So because the main character is, like, the daughter of, like, the second in command of the military, all these marked kids hate her and want to kill her, right? Like, the main antagonist is a guy who, right, her mom killed his dad, but she killed his dad because the dad killed her brother. Give me a focus. I should have taken the quick claw. So I was like, okay, you've got these marked ones who hate her, obviously, and one of them breaks her arm at one point. An Imogen, because of course this is the second Imogen. But, so there's two guys, right? Like every YA dystopia, there are two guys. There's Dane in Xander? It's one of those two. And so Dane is like the childhood friend that she grew up with, who's like super overprotective of her, trying to make sure she doesn't die here, because they have no regard for human life. Like, humans are like super disposable, and if you get killed in the military, oh, so be it, right? The weak wouldn't... A dragon wouldn't pick someone who's weak anyways, so who fucking cares if you die? Like, like, of course there's disregard for human life, right? Wouldn't be YA dystopian without it. Even though, again, this is not dystopian. It takes place in, like, a fantasy world. So, right, the Dane guy, and he's very, like, stickler for the rules, just trying to protect her. I don't really care for Dane. The other guy, though, Xander... It's spelled with an X as well. I didn't, because I've been listening to the audiobook, I didn't even realize it was spelled with an X until I looked up something and saw that it was spelled with an X. Oh, do I have it? I'm gonna find out if it's Zayden or Xander. It's Zayden, okay. Go for water. That's probably not... Honestly, we have weaknesses on both sides, but getting those items are nice. So, Zayden, on the other hand, right, he's a marked one. He's like her platoon leader, above Dane, because Dane's also technically like her wing commander. And, of course, immediately Zayden and the girl get off at, like, they hate each other. Oh my gosh. She hates him so much. He wants to kill her because, you know, he's a marked one, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Like, obviously. And then, meanwhile, I was like, oh, you know what? There's a point where she accidentally overhears a conversation between Zayden and a bunch of other marked ones, where they're talking about... Basically, he's holding, like, a club for study hall, but because they're marked ones, they have to do it in secret, because it's illegal for them to hold a club or whatever. Right? It's illegal for, like, more than 3 of them to gather out of fears of them holding a rebellion. And that was the point I started to like Zayden, where I was like, oh, you know what? Zayden's, like, way better than Dean. And, yeah, like, 15 chapters in, there's a point where Zayden, like, swoops down in the sky before she picks her dragon, and is, like, giving color commentary. They face off against each other in the map, and he's, like, giving her a lesson while just toying with her. I like Zayden way more than Dane. I definitely, like, since Dane is the childhood friend, it makes more sense for, her to sleep with him first. But they also got into, like, a big fight in, like, 2 chapters ago, so I fully expect them not to do that, and instead she's gonna go have a one-night stand with Zayden that might turn into something more. I don't know. Again, I'm now that I'm in the mindset, I'm like, oh god, this is gonna turn into gooning material soon. And I ain't no gooner, but if this is how they... But, you know, because this is a book, it's now highbrow. So you can get away with it. Not that, not that there's anything wrong with this. As long as you're not breaking the law, I kind of don't... I actually have no... Right, whether it's gooning or book nooks, I kind of don't care as long as you're breaking the law. It's just, there's this element of hypocrisy that I find funny, which is why I keep saying it. But so far, I've been enjoying the book. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. Specifically, when we meet the black dragon, whose name I do not remember, because again, I just learned it. I was like, oh, I like this guy. Right, he's like this old, grumpy old man who just is like, who's like barely putting up with her shit. And I'm like, oh, I do like this guy. Oh, that's right. I like this dragon. And the little one also seems interesting. Because, like, I especially thought she was going to get the golden one because it's a feather tail. And, you know, she wanted to be a scribe, and scribes presumably write with feathers and whatnot. Like, what's the technology level in this world? Not entirely sure, but I kind of also don't care. I don't know. There was elements of it. But yeah, I'm like... It's like a 20-plus hour audiobook, and I think I'm like 15 or 16 hours in. So, you know, I've still got some work to do, but so far I'd be lying if I said I wasn't having fun. Especially when she goes out to the thrashing or whatever. I'll be honest, the one thing that does totally confuse me is the geography. I have no idea what anything is, where anything is, right? Like, I think there are, like, eastern mountains or something that separate their land from the other land. But other than that, I've got nothing. Like, the geography makes no sense to me. Where they're at a place called, like, the Citadel, but what the fuck the Citadel actually is? Because they have to cross, like, this parapet, which is like they could like get blown off and fall into the chasm, but it looks like not everyone had to cross the parapet, whatever it's called, because there are other people nearby who, you know, didn't have to worry about that, and it's like a whole thing. But no, I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna definitely keep reading it. Will I have finished it by next week? I have no idea, but I have been enjoying it so far. So I've seen two movies. We're going to talk about Ghostbusters first. We're going to talk about the worst one, and then we'll talk about the better one, which is Kong. Godzilla x Kong. So let's talk about Ghostbusters. So, oh shit. I thought we were going to win this. I thought we were going to do fine here. And that just kind of, us just getting one shot there is not a good sign. Oh shit. So Ghostbusters, I heard Greg Miller say some good things about it. I had heard that the movie had some problems, but I was still relatively excited, right? I was like, oh, this might be fun. I did rewatch Ghostbusters Afterlife, and guess what? I still really enjoy that movie. A few years later, and yeah, I still do really enjoy Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think it's a pretty solid movie. Oh, hey, look, we did win. Yeah, no, I genuinely enjoyed it. So I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Hopefully this new one will be good. I had heard it had some problems, but, I was still excited. Having seen it now, everything everybody's saying about it is totally true. The big thing is it has way too many characters. You have the new Ghostbusters team of, right, the girl Phoebe, the boy Trevor, I want to say, Game Kid Trevor. You have Paul Rudd and the mom, whose name I forget. You have the original Ghostbusters, right? Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, whatever the girl's name is, and whatever the guy's name is. It's not Raymond. And then you have the other two characters. So you're right. You have the original four Ghostbusters, minus, of course, Spangler. And then you have the other new kid, right? Patton Oswalt makes makes a pretty, not like a super lengthy cameo, but he makes a cameo in the movie. He definitely does more than nothing. And then you have, I can't remember the character's name. The Fire Master, as they keep calling him. And, right, is it Camille Nanjiani? And he's the Fire Master, and that's, like, his big thing. And then there's also Lucky, who's, like, Trevor's girlfriend, from the previous movie. Oh, and there's also Podcast as well, who was, Podcast was, Phoebe's friend in the previous movie as well. So there's just so many fucking characters in this movie, and it's way too many. Like, that's one of the biggest problems of the movie, is there's just too many characters. Like, they could have cut out all of the old Ghostbusters, and the movie would not have suffered at all. Or they could have just had them be, like, a brief cameo scene, right? Like, you could have had Dan Aykroyd at the beginning set up the movie. Then you have Bill Murray come in for his one scene where he, like, tests the guy, and that's it, right? I didn't need much more of them than that, than their one scene. Yeah, was it cool seeing the secretary now be an official Ghostbuster? Yes, that's cool. Janine? That sounds right. Right, was that neat? Yes. But I feel like if it had just been Paul Rudd, the mom, the two kids, and I guess Lucky. Oh god, and there's like a scientist as well who works at like a ghost research lab. God, there's just too many characters. There are too many fucking characters. And yeah, they definitely, it should have just been the 5 of them. Honestly, if they had just cut it down to the 5 and brief cameos from everyone else, this movie would have been infinitely improved. They're just doing too much. Of course you choose the Galarian Stone Disc. And then, like, I was thinking about it, I was like, what the fuck did the brother even do in this movie? Because, like, real talk, I was trying to think, like, oh, early on, the brother has a fight with, like, Slimer, right? Where he's trying to, like, catch Slimer the same way you catch E.T. And that's really it. Like, that's the only thing he does for the entire movie. Oh, and there's also a ghost girl as well, who's, I want to say, Melody? That sounds right. So, right, there's just so many fucking characters. And, like, if the plot was centered around Phoebe, and it was all about her, and whatever. It was all about her, and, her not being allowed to be a Ghostbuster, because guess what? Walter Peck is the mayor of New York. Because, of course, Walter Peck is the mayor of New York. That just makes perfect sense, if I'm being honest. Like, that's a good joke, right? Bill Murray at the very end of the movie calls him a clown. Callback. Don't call him... I don't think he calls him Discless, though. Yeah, there's just so much... Right. And the other problem... So they have a lot of characters. And as a result, the movie is so slow. It's only like 2 hours long, but I feel like the first hour and like 30 minutes could have been cut in half. Cut out the characters, cut that down to 45 minutes. Let us spend more time in the ice world. Let us fight, because legitimately, you see the ghost they catch at the very beginning of the movie to open it. The Slimer joke, establishing the character of Melody. There's the Ghost Museum, which is very, outside of the one ghost in the Ghost Museum, it does nothing. Like, there's, this one possessor ghost. Other than that, you could have cut out the Ghost Museum and it does nothing. The main villain doesn't appear until an hour and a half in. He does one thing and then he's gone. Right? That one scene you see in the trailers where it's all the ice spikes going out of the beach as the storm comes in, that happens an hour and a half into the movie. That happens way later than it should have. So that's a massive right? They needed to, nothing happens for the first, like, hour and a half of this movie. I mean, okay, I would say the first hour. The first hour, very much, nothing happens. Because just so much, they have so much to do, and it's a mess. It is a mess. They have too many characters, and again, a lot of them don't get much time for any development. The only one who does is Phoebe, and I guess the mom and the dad, who, you know, have their moment. Because, you know, there's a big thing of, like, Gruber wants to be the dad. He wants to be, right, he's trying to find his role as the step science teacher, as he puts it. And, you know, I just picked a random thing. He's struggling to figure out where he fits in the family dynamic. And so, of course, by the end of the movie, he gets to be called Dad, and that's, like, a big deal for him. The final battle sucks. Like, I saw it coming from a mile away. How, right, the girl on... Of course, the girl on fire and the fire master are able to work together to defeat the ice guy. Like, yeah, no shit, movie. The fire master thing could have been cut out completely. I feel like that added nothing to the movie. I did not think the character was funny. I feel like on the comedy level, this movie fails as well. Because, okay, so the original Ghostbusters is a movie about nothing. Right? Like, I know Seinfeld always pivoted itself as the show about nothing. It's not. Ghostbusters is the movie about nothing. Nobody grows. Nobody learns any morals. I think Patrick H. Willems has a great video explaining it. That Ghostbusters is a movie about nothing. So go watch that. So I don't need Ghostbusters to be about anything. Like the villain. Okay, so the villain in this movie is some ancient guy, god thing that, you know, he originally was used to take over the world, but after taking over the world, he was betrayed, and he swore he'd get an army of ghosts to get revenge. Or something like that. And I'll be honest, that's all the backstory I need. I don't... Because Gozer the Gozerian doesn't really have much of a backstory, and I didn't really need her to have much of a backstory, and that's kind of how I feel about this villain. Like, I don't need them to have some complex, tragic backstory. Ghostbusters is one of those few franchises where a villain can just be evil for the sake of being a villain. Like, that's not a problem, in my opinion. Let's go beat this Rose up. I don't actually care that the villain has no motivation, right? That their motivation is just take over the world. I'm fine with that. It's just they don't do anything with it, right? I wanted to see, because, okay, so the villain, to get his ghost army, he's busting open the ghost trap beneath the firehouse. I would have loved to have seen when he got released, the ghost army got released as well, and that created some sort of conflict or problem, or just something. Anything, honestly. It's called Frozen Empire. Spend some time in the Frozen Empire. Instead, they just hide out in the firehouse as the guy slowly approaches. And they have to deal with a few ghosts. The movie totally fails at the rule of 3. So there's a rule in comedy that says you have to do everything in 3s. It's not like a universal, like, oh, every joke has to be told in 3s. But, you know, it's the rule of 3. And this movie fails on it, like, multiple times. Like, they set up stuff, and then it just never gets paid off. Like, or they'll do it twice as well. Like, they said early on, Phoebe is mad at her parents, and she, like, swears at them, but we don't actually hear her swear. Right? It happens off camera. That's the joke. Then later on in the mayor's office, she flips off the mayor as well, and we don't see it, but, you know, we know it happens because she gets arrested immediately afterwards. It's like, okay, you've done it twice, now you got to do it a third time. No, the movie just ends. There's in the Ghost Museum, Ghost Zoo. I keep calling it a museum. I mean to say it's a zoo. There's 3 ghosts. There's this guy who pukes. There's this weird, scary skeleton guy. And there's the Possessor Ghosts. We see the Possessor Ghost get eaten by Slimer. The puker pukes on the scientist. And then the third one never comes back again. It's seen like 2 times, and then it never shows up a third time. Slimer is kind of complicated because you see early on the boy finds him in the attic, and he gets slimed. Then later on he comes back and the boy tries to trap him and fails. And I guess it gets the payoff at the end when it eats the pizza. Like, it eats the possessor ghost. I guess that's the payoff. And there's like a bunch of other, that's just the ones I'm bringing up. There's like a bunch of other ones that like fail on that level where they like set up something that just doesn't really get any payoff. So there were some, don't get me wrong, there were some jokes that got a laugh out of me. But there were a lot that didn't. And there's a lot of like weird, like after Phoebe gets mad at her parents because, she's too young to be a Ghostbuster. They then find out about this Ghostbuster like research and development lab, and I'm like, why doesn't she just work at the research and development lab? She still gets to hang around ghosts. Why doesn't she go there, right? Why doesn't she just do that for the next 2 years? Nobody would care. And I get it. Oh, that doesn't solve the problem because she wants to be out in the field. And like, yeah, I get that. But, it's a solution that nobody thinks of. But after she gets mad at her parents, she runs off to the park to play chess by herself. And hey, it just so happens a ghost girl shows up to play with her. Like, what the, like, because she didn't know a ghost girl was there. Was she just expecting someone to be there to play chess against her? And when she saw nobody, she was like, oh, I'll just play against myself, I guess. Was she hoping Harold Ramis was going to show up? I have no idea. I have no idea what the fuck they were doing. But it's what they did. There is some clever stuff. Or at least the one thing I thought that was like, I was like, oh, that's clever. Is so there's a machine that extracts ghosts from haunted items. So like they have like a creepy doll and they're able to pull the ghost out of the creepy doll. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, because later on Phoebe uses that to pull the ghost out of herself. And I was like, oh, that's kind of clever. I was like, yeah, I kind of like that. And then you find out that her girlfriend, Melody, right as they're about to kiss, Melody betrays her because the villain can control ghosts. And she's able to then control Phoebe and get her to read read the release spell. And I was like, yeah, I thought that was kind of clever. I'm just glad we didn't do Gozer again for a third time. So yeah, I thought it was. I wanted to like it, man. I wanted to have a good time. I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. I know Ghostbusters is one of those series, like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, that has a 50-50 track record, that for every good movie, there's a bad/mediocre movie. But I was hoping I was going to like this one. I know Greg Miller is biased, but I was hopeful. And nah, I just didn't like it. But I will say, I'd watch another one. If they if they make another one, kind of like what I said about Shazam. Shazam 2 sucked, but if they made another one, I'd watch another one. Kind of the same way here. If they make another one, I'll watch another one. I specifically want it to be about just focus on the 5. Focus on the parents, Trevor, Phoebe, and the girl, Lucky. That's it. Those are the only 5, and just I want them to take more influence from the Ghostbusters TV show. There was that Ghostbusters TV show with Lorenzo Music playing Bill Murray's character, and I want them to take some influence from that. Fight the boogeyman, Do some shit like that. Just get outside of Dan Aykroyd, who has nothing better to do, let's be honest here. I don't need any of the other characters to come back. I guess I'd be fine with Podcast coming back. I don't really care for Podcast, and he doesn't really do much in the movie, but I'd be fine if he came back. But it's just, there's too much going on. Simplify it. Make it about people whose job it is to Ghostbust. Right? These are people working because I thought the movie starts off very strong. Them trying to catch the ghost at the beginning of the movie, and you find out they put a ghost trap inside of a drone. I was like, oh, that's kind of clever. Right? That's like after the RC car one in the previous movie. I was like, oh, that's a very natural execution, right? Evolution. Yeah, sure. But no, honestly, I just wanted a movie about people busting ghosts as a job. I don't need anything more complicated than that. But we'll see. I don't know. I said the one thing I remember from the Ghostbusters TV show was the Boogeyman, who was a giant like head with like arms and legs. At least I think I'm thinking of the right show. It was a giant head with like arms and legs. Think Garrett, if you've seen Adventure Time, think Garrett Bobby Ferguson. Kind of like that, but with less hair. And it was really weird, but it's like, I think it's memorable. Do something with that, you know? I don't know. It's again, it's not the worst. Is it the worst Ghostbusters movie? Maybe? Because 2 sucks. But 2 kind of 2 sucks in similar but different ways. Where, like, 2's big problem was just, it was the first movie but worse. But I think 2 is probably better than this. And then again, the all-female Ghostbusters, its biggest sin was being mediocre. I would probably also say the all-female Ghostbusters movie was better than this one. Which I know that's a very harsh critique. But yeah, that's probably true. So yeah, there are definitely much better movies that you could go see right now. Speaking of which, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire was amazing. I can tell you how great this movie is in one sentence. Spoiler warning, Godzilla suplexes Kong off the Great Pyramids of Giza, and it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. 9 out of 10, go see this movie, bring the whole family, they'll love it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this movie. I think it was great. I'm one of those people who believe that the Godzilla movies can exist between the paradigm of, this super serious movie about humanity and war and destruction. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have giant monsters beating each other up for fun. Right? I think both those types of movies can exist at the same time. Within the same... It really just shows how good Godzilla is as a character, that both those ideas can exist simultaneously within the character. Because on the serious side, you have movies like the original Godzilla, Godzilla -1, Shin Godzilla, the 2014 Godzilla, in my opinion. Right? Those are on one side. And then on the other side, you have, Godzilla vs. Biolantis, Godzilla Final Wars, and this movie. And I think both movies can exist simultaneously. They have their own benefits and their own honestly, they have their own benefits and downs. Like, I'm not going to pretend like Shin Godzilla is a perfect movie. I will say, Godzilla -1 might be a perfect movie. Perfect Godzilla movie, anyways. The original is also fantastic still. Yeah, the original is still great. Does this not work on Swampert? Yeah, no, it doesn't. I wasn't even paying attention. So this movie, I feel like it has learned a lot from the previous movies. Because I've liked the previous Godzilla movies. 2014 is good, but again, it falls on the more serious spectrum. So does Kong Skull Island, but we're just going to throw that out for the point of this. Right, we're specifically talking King of Monsters and Godzilla x Kong. I like both of those movies. But they have problems, right? King of Monsters, big problem. It had many honestly, the story sucked. Let's be honest. Like, I love the big monster fights. The whole eco-terrorism plot, what a fucking mess. The villain being the mom and the eco-terrorists, so fucking stupid, awful, right? It tried to take itself seriously. That's a mistake. I know Godzilla's always had this, like, ecological, like, radiation damage element to it. The way they handle it in that movie's a fucking mess. Love that movie, big problem. Right, that's one of the problems. Another problem that movie has, it's too fucking dark. Almost all the fight scenes in that movie take place at night. And I just hate it. Like, I don't want fight scenes to take place at night. Have set fight scenes during the day. So from those mistakes, and there's others, but you know, those are like the main three. Godzilla x Kong definitely learned some lessons. They set some of the fight scenes in the day. They learned that lesson, like, hey, you know, it's okay. Not every fight scene was set in the day. And to be fair, I think the Hong Kong fight scene that wasn't set in the day was a very good fight scene. But, you know, they learned the lesson. Hey, we can do fight scenes during the day. Does the CGI look worse during the day? Yes. But guess what? I don't care. Most people don't care. I am fine with the CGI looking bad if the fight scenes look better. Because I think setting a fight scene during the day just overall looks better. So, no, that's not a problem for me. The plot was a lot simpler, right? No ecological terrorist stuff. Instead, hey, they're going to Hollow Earth. Something inherently goofy. The villain's creating Mechagodzilla. Again, inherently goofy. It's better. The big problem with King Kong vs. Godzilla was the human characters. I did not give a Okay, that's a lie. I liked the little girl. I think the little girl who, you know, could communicate with Kong, that's cute. I like that character. Other than that, I did not give a shit about any of the other human characters. I didn't like, I didn't care for Millie Bobby Brown. I definitely did not like Bernie the QAnon guy. Like, no. And I was really worried when they brought him back in this one. I didn't care for Millie Bobby Brown's friend, you know, the guy from Deadpool 2. The Kong people, again, I didn't really care for any of them other than the little girl. I thought the little girl was cute. So I just did not care about all the human stuff. I felt like the movie was scared to spend too much time with the monsters and always kept cutting back to the human stuff. And it's like, it's okay to let us spend some time with the monsters. Especially, like, Kong animates very well. Even though he doesn't talk, he's still very expressive in his animation. He's the main character of that movie, right? Godzilla's not. Kong is the main character, which is all the more funny that he loses the fight scene at the end, but whatever. This movie learns from those lessons. The human characters are still in it, right? They brought back the little girl, who I do care about. Yes, they brought back Bernie, but he's a lot more subdued in this movie. He says a lot less. Yeah, he's still here, but he's not nearly as annoying as he was in the previous one. They brought in this new guy named Trapper, who is very, like... He's an Australian guy who's, like, very stereotypical, very playing up his, like, oh, look at me, I'm a veterinarian, right, for kaijus. Very goofy, very likable. He's the exact kind of, like, joke character I'd want in a movie like this. I liked Trapper. I thought he was fine. They brought back Gia and the mom. And I think the main story centers around them, because Gia keeps having these, like, flashbacks about, like, she's not flashbacks, these visions. She's having these visions and they're freaking her out. But, you know, they're gonna figure out, like, what's causing these visions and whatnot. I think it all works. It's kind of like, you know, the Fast and the Furious movies are all about family, right? They're these big action There's these big action car movies with explosions, but at the core they're about family. That's kind of how these movies work as well. There's these big goofy monster movies, but at the core there's that element of family, be that the mother and daughter with Gia and the mom, whose name I forget, Or, in this one, it's Kong and the kid, Suko? Whatever the little baby is, who Kong basically takes in as an adoptive son after he tries to kill him. It's like, yeah, okay, right, there's this element of family. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, that works fine. So the movie learned that, right, the human characters are not nearly as bad as in other movies. That's good. The second thing, with fight scenes during the day, even though they're underground a majority of the movie, the underground is very well lit. It looks like it's daytime all the time. I don't think there is a single nighttime fight scene in this movie. I think the darkest fight scene is, there's a Godzilla scene where he fights a creature underwater. Other than that, no, the movie is very well lit, and I like that. Good. They learned that lesson. Letting the monsters spend time by themselves. There are long, extended sequences in this movie where it's just Kong and the little kid, no talking, right? Where it's Kong, this little kid, or Kong, meeting the Scar King or whatnot, where we spend a lot of time with them. We don't just cut back to the humans out of fear that, like, people are getting bored or whatever, or aren't understanding anything. They spend time with the monsters, and they're just willing to let them be characters. Because once again, Kong is the main character. Godzilla's actually not in much of this movie. This is a Kong movie through and through. He's the main character. Most of the action is done through him. Not that Godzilla does nothing, but, he's in it a lot. Most of this movie is Godzilla getting, going on a string of battles to get, like, powered up in order to fight the final boss. Oh, wow. That was quick. Most of the movie is that. And honestly, would I want more Godzilla? Of course I want more Godzilla. Like, no shit, I want more Godzilla. Because I like Godzilla more. I'm Team Godzilla all the way. But if they're making Kong the main character, yeah, give us some time to spend with him. Give us these long moments where nobody's talking and we just kind of got to figure it out through their acting. Right? It all works really well, in my opinion. Is this a highbrow movie? No, of course not. But I think for what it is doing, it's doing it very well. Again, I don't expect Fast and the Furious to be Shakespeare. And I don't expect this to be Godzilla -1. I feel like it's doing what it does, and it does it well. I enjoyed the crap out of this movie. I was worried about the villains, because the villains in this movie are basically evil King Kong and evil Godzilla. Right, you have the Scar King, and you have Suma, not Suka. What the? Simo? Whatever the evil Godzilla is. I was really worried, because I was like, oh, the villains are just evil King Kong and evil Godzilla. Is that really gonna work? But then you actually watch the movie, and they fight very differently, but they work off of each other really well. Like evil King Kong and evil King Kong fight very early on. Not very early on, but like halfway through the movie. And evil King Kong, Scar King has like his whip, and King Kong has his axe, and like Scar King is like very agile, whereas King Kong's like more of like a slow bruiser. And like, yeah, they work off each other very well. The evil maybe it's called Shimo. The evil Godzilla is like this big like ice dragon, and I actually thought it was very small because it's surrounded by these giant monkeys. It looks pretty small, but then you see it's like fighting Godzilla, and it's like, no, wait, this thing's actually like way bigger than Godzilla. Like that surprised me. There's a few other things. I do not want to get into spoilers. I know I've already said a bunch. There's a bunch of stuff I'm leaving out as well, kind of. But there's one thing in particular that's in this movie that either was... Because I'll be honest, I stopped watching trailers for this movie after the second trailer. When they were in this... Because in the second trailer for the movie, they revealed Shimo, or whatever the thing... The evil Godzilla. And when they revealed that, I was like, okay, I've seen too much. I don't need to see any more of this movie. And I stopped watching the trailers. So this might have been revealed... So there's something that happens in this movie that might have been in a trailer, but it also might not have. And so when I saw it in the movie, I was fucking blown away. I had not seen it in a trailer. I was thinking in the back of my head, like, are they going to do this? And then they do it, and I was so fucking pumped. I was so excited. I loved it. I wish we got more of it. Once you've seen the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I wish we had gotten more of it, but what we had was great. I was so excited to see it. And yeah, I want more. Specifically, I want them to make another Godzilla movie. For the last two movies have had Kong as the main character, and he's a fine main character. But I want them to step away from Kong, give us another Godzilla movie. Give us some more of Godzilla's villains. Right? Like, yes, I am glad we saw Mechagodzilla and Godzilla vs. Kong. But this movie creates, as far as I know, Shimu and Scar King are completely original to this movie, which I think that's fine. I mean, we haven't got a new Godzilla character since, the Mudos in 2014. And even before that, I think you have to go back to Godzilla 2000 to find a new original character. Right? Like, I feel like we haven't got a new, Godzilla antagonist in a while, so I'm fine with these two new ones. But give us some... I want another Godzilla movie with some classic Godzilla villains. Give me Biolantis. Give me Gigan. Out of all the Godzilla villains, I want Gigan. I feel like Gigan would just... I'm not going to say it makes the most sense, but I feel like Gigan's pretty iconic. And it's just kind of weird he's never been in any of these movies. Right? Like, I have him come in on an asteroid falling from space. Something like that. Give us Gigan. Right? Big... I feel like he's a pretty iconic Godzilla villain. Give us him. Give us, Give us Biolantis. I remember liking the Biolantis movie a lot. So give us that character. Give us both of them. And then have Godzilla... Kong has the robotic arm. Spoiler alert. He has a robotic arm. And they explain, hey, after everything that happened with Mechagodzilla, we started, we started a project to, augment kaijus to, make them stronger in case another Mechagodzilla. And, I can see that going towards, Mecha Kong. I don't care about Mecha Kong. Instead, give us Jet Jaguar. Have that thing lead to Jet Jaguar. So we get Godzilla and Jet Jaguar, who's controlled by humans Pacific Rim style. And, don't have him turn evil like Mechagodzilla. I know Mechagodzilla was also controlled Pacific Rim style. Don't worry about it. Just do traditional Pacific Rim style. And have it be Godzilla and Jet Jaguar versus Gigan and Biolantis, or Gigan and King Caesar, or... I would save Destroya. Destroya has... Unless you're going to kill Godzilla, save Destroya. Kind of like how the only Doomsday story is when Doomsday kills Superman. Other than that, there's no real point in doing, Doomsday in the movies. Or anything like that. Even though Zack Snyder definitely should not have done Doomsday. Right? That's kind of their one story. I feel the same way about Destroya. Their one story is killing Godzilla. So unless you're going to do that, don't do Destroya. I'd be fine with Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla would be cool. I do like me some Space Godzilla. I kind of feel like we have to go for the water one, because the other one's... Yeah, give me... I can't think of... There's a bunch... Give me Baragon, give me... Baragon was was from the second Godzilla movie. Or is that Agumon? I don't know, whatever the second... Have the movie start off with Godzilla fighting, Baragon or something. Right? Some Godzilla villain who we haven't seen yet... But it'd be oh, that's cool to see. Hey, that's neat. Give us Space Godzilla, but have Space Godzilla originally look like normal Godzilla, and everyone thinks that Godzilla's turned evil, but in actuality, he's been captured by Biolantis, and they create Jet Jaguar to go save him, and then after they save him, they come back on the surface, and Space Godzilla has mutated into Space Godzilla, and then Gigan shows up, right? Gigan has been, like, called by Space Godzilla, and so it's Space Godzilla versus Godzilla, and Gigan versus Jet Jaguar. Fuck yeah, I'd watch that. Just give me another Godzilla movie. And also the spoiler, right? Bring that back as well. Like, obviously, with the spoiler, I'd honestly be fine with that getting its own movie as well. If they want to do that, go for it. But no, I had a rip-roaring good time with Godzilla. It was so much fun. It's not highbrow, if you want highbrow Godzilla, go see Godzilla -1. It's a fantastic movie. It is a better movie than this one, technically. But, I went into this movie wanting a dumb, fun action movie with giant monsters beating the shit out of each other, with less human characters in the previous movies, and that's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I got, and that's all I needed. I loved it. Easy recommendation. I will watch this movie 1,000 more times. Like, I've seen Godzilla vs. Kong, 10 times. I'll gladly watch this one 10 more times as well. Right, easy. I don't know how good of a position we are for this. I guess we'll find out. Oh, good, we've got Ironhead. So I guess that takes us to the end. So, we will be back probably tomorrow. I think, Easter is Sunday, right? But I think so we did Pokemon Spreadsheet Green, right, where we organized a bunch of different Pokemon boxes. Tomorrow, we're going to do Document Blue, where we're going to go in and we're going to organize the Gen 5 box and hopefully find a bunch of the missing Pokemon. We're missing a bunch of different Mons from probably Gen 5, Gen 2, Gen 3. Some of them are easy to get, right? Some of them I've already gotten, like, Meltan, or we have to evolve Cosmion. I have a Poiple in this game, and we just have to evolve it, right? So there's a few things we have to evolve, but, right, and then we have to go into Scarlet and Violet and find a few things. We have to go into this game and find a few things. So there are definitely some Pokemon we are missing, but I think we can find those. That's not going to be an issue. So that'll probably be tomorrow. Alright, I'm naming them all after programs. So, right, Spreadsheet Green, Document Blue, and then if we do a third one, it'll be called Slideshow Red, or something like that. I think that'd be funny for a third game. Right, Red, Blue, and Green. So that's the plan at the moment. I think that should be fine. I think that should be fun. Or, not fun, but, I'll be honest, 4 hours of organizing Pokemon was not nearly as boring for me as, it could be. There's something very cathartic about just having all my ducks lined up in a row. And it, it looking nice and everything. But there are definitely a few things we are missing, so we'll have to go get those things. But I think it'll turn out fine. We still need Ho-Oh, right? We found a few things tonight. None of them were Ho-Oh. We found Groudon, which was cool. That's not Ho-Oh, so we do need to go get that. I hate that cheering on does nothing. In Scarlet and Violet, cheering on gives attack up. It restores health. It, does things. I'm disappointed cheering on does nothing in this game. Also, I cannot beat Xerneas or Yveltal. Right? These Xerneas and Yveltal just keep kicking my ass. I don't know why, but out of all the battles I've done, they're, the hardest ones. I just want to find Ho-Oh, man. And I don't want to play through Gen 2 just to get one. Because the thing is, I couldn't even just play through Gen 2 to bring one up. I'd also have to play through, or not Gen 2, I couldn't just play through, like, Heart Gold or Soul Silver, specifically Heart Gold, to bring up a Ho-Oh, because I'd also have to play through either Black or White, because I don't have one of those games completed either. I do luckily have Zekrom. I want to say it's in my copy of the other game, Shield. I do have, and I know I have Reshiram, but I'm pretty sure I do have a Zekrom here somewheres. Do not know if we have Kyrene. I'm pretty sure I do, but I don't honestly know. We're not gonna win this. It's fucking kicking our ass. It's one more hit. It's one more kill and we're out. And we're close. Don't get me wrong. We are close. But I'm just going to assume we're not going to get close enough to it. Because all it takes is one more good hit and we're gone. Actually, that as long as it... Shit, that's it. Oh, it paralyzed. But I think Cramorant fainting there kicks us out. Yeah, shit. If Cramorant had just lived that hit, we would have been fine. We would have defeated it. Still no shine. You know, and part of the reason I know I do not have the shiny charm in this game, but part of the reason I made the living dex was to, you know, make sure I could get, like, shiny, you know, make it easier for us to find shinies. But I kind of now that we're close to completing it, it's like, I want to complete it before we move it over to, like, increase our shiny odds. I think did I say that at the beginning? I meant to say that at the beginning. Because, yeah, we've got nothing in this game. Yeah, it really would help. Like, oh, hey, you don't have all the Pokemon in this one? Well, don't worry. You've got the living dex. Now you can just transfer everything over. Because we've only got, I'm going to guess, like 400 things. Oh, we've only caught like 32 things? Oh, my gosh. Holy moly. Right, let's put some stuff in the box. Giratina can go over here. Uxie also goes over here. Yeah, we've got some stuff. I still haven't transferred over. That Swampert's actually nice, because I think we are missing Swampert. So I will have to remember to move that over as well. I wish I could find Galarian Persian. Or, Alolan Persian. Because I know it can appear in the max raid dens. It just hasn't. Because I really do need an Alolan Persian. Because I don't think we have one. We have, like... I was curious which Pokemon we had the most of. I looked through the box because I was like, oh, I wonder what we have the most of. Eevee. We have, I think, 17 Eevees in the box. So that's the Pokemon we have the most of. Yeah. But yeah, so there's the stream tonight. You know, I think we only won like 3 battles. Honestly, not that great. I was having much better luck yesterday, where I clearly won a few more. But yeah. We'll be back next week with more stuff to do, I guess. I don't know what we are doing next time, obviously. Like, I haven't gotten that far ahead. Like I said, we're going to be working on Document Blue tomorrow. And other than that, you know, we'll keep being here on stream doing, more... whatever's next. You know, in chat continues for a while. I don't know. Honestly, right... Like... Yes, did we have some new stories this week? Sure. But I feel like a lot of things are just rumors nowadays. Like it was... Like, I guess Marvel Rivals was nice that it was a rumor and then something actually happened with it by the time the thing started. Because most of the time we're just dealing with rumors. So yeah, I guess we'll figure it out when we figure it out. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time, peace.